Well, one person who has also recently had a lot to say about African women, and especially those in Nigeria, is the outgoing British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Laing. The British envoy has been speaking of her time in the country, and she says a significant proportion of women in the country have been denied the opportunity to contribute fully to the development of their country. She also noted that the unwillingness of men to share political power with women has made Nigeria lag behind and miss out on global leadership and economic development. She's been speaking to the BBC's Ewokor in Abuja.
As the first female High Commissioner here, I've been working with the other female ambassadors in Nigeria. There's a small group of us, but we're a powerful force. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that we've introduced an International Women's Day gala to coincide with International Women's Day around March the 8th. And we've had two now, the second one this year, where we celebrate Nigerian women in all walks of life, in the media, in politics, in civil society. And it's a fabulous event. And our first speaker in the event last year was Ngozi Chinamanda. This year we had Dr. Obi, one of your prominent female political leaders, governance leaders. And they speak with such passion, and you realise this amazing potential, this 50% of the population who's sadly not yet achieving the full contribution they can make to Nigeria. But I've seen so many examples of amazing role models, women in Nigeria, but also outside Nigeria. You know, you've got senior women, Deputy Secretary General, WTO and so on, but many, many here who are doing amazing things. And the Women's Minister, Dame Pauline Talon, has just been a massive inspiration to me. So that's one of my big takeaways, is women, no Nigeria. You've got to exploit that 50%.
And is it a concern that we don't seem to see much women in politics in Nigeria? Is that a concern too?
It is a massive concern because they're in other walks of life. They're doing well, actually, in business, in the law, in medicine and science. We see Nigerian women doing very well. So why is it they're not doing well in politics? Well, I'm afraid it can only be down to the fact that men do not want to share power. And that's very disappointing because it would actually be much more enriching for them if they were willing to share power. And we saw this in a very practical way play out when the 5 bills, so this time last year, were going through the 2 houses and sadly didn't make it through. And those bills included, personally, what I think is very important, quotas for women in different aspects of life, including special seats in Parliament. There's a lot of experience around the world that when you're this far behind as Nigeria is, you need to have quotas to enable women to get their seat at the table and then be able to speak up for themselves and to act as role models for other young women. If women do not see women in political leadership roles, they themselves won't aspire. So it's a vicious circle. And in Nigeria, sadly, you're going backwards. You're at 123 out of 146 countries on the Gender Empowerment Index. And one of the reasons you're so far behind is the political side of it. So I think for the incoming administration, that's going to be one of my parting messages. You have to do better on this. It's holding Nigeria back. It's causing economic loss for Nigeria by not including women in all walks of life, including in politics.
That's the outgoing British High Commissioner to Nigeria,